So, ladies and gentlemen, I will give a presentation in mainly two parts. First, some words and slides about the Swedish industrialization policy. And secondly, of course, and I have this opportunity to present the County of Jämtland. And I hope that you will find both parts of the presentation interesting. It's not the meaning that you should read all the small text on the slides, so don't even try to do that, but I will present some highlights. As Pernilla mentioned, Sweden is a small country with only 10 million inhabitants in total. The last 100 years we have been quite innovative, and that's because over the years we realized that we are very much depending on export products, export services to create a welfare nation that we have today. And to be able to export, of course, we also have realized that we are depending on the global competitiveness. And being depending on the global competitiveness also means that we are striving to be in the forefront in different areas to be able to take part of the global market. So the focus for the government is, of course, to create, looking into the future, to create a fossil-free welfare nation, and where sustainability is core for all our efforts. As mentioned from Pernilla's slides, over the years we have presented very useful innovations like the seatbelt, the dynamite, the solar water, and so on. And this is, perhaps I would like to say, even if the words wasn't invented at the time, but from the beginning there has been a strong tradition of an innovative public procurement. Just to give another example. A little bit more than 100 years ago, the Swedish government realized, and the Swedish society, that the iron from the mines in the old northern part of Sweden could be a very useful product on an export market. But how to transport that iron from the mines up in the north with tens of hundreds of kilometers to the next harbors. So they realized that just the way to do that is to use railroads, even though they didn't really have a railroad. But what kind of train could take this very heavy iron to the coast? So they realized that electrical railroads would be the solution. And how to create electrical railroads up in the north with nothing than forests and some mines. So they gave the public Vattenfall, today is its company, but at the time it was a public government agency. They gave Vattenfall the task to just fix it. So what did they do? They started to build hydropower stations in the streams in the northern part of Sweden, with the purpose to electrify the railroad to take the iron out to the harbors. And they didn't have, at the procurement, they didn't have the exact solution, but they just told Vattenfall to fix it. And another of that kind of example is also when it comes to how to make Sweden a country of telephones and connections. They gave Ericsson the same kind of task, to create systems to make Sweden with telephones. And they didn't know exactly what they were looking for, but the innovation was made over time, and that kind of public procurement with innovative strengths was and has been very fruitful for the Swedish society. You mentioned all the different ranks, I won't refer to them. But we have been, for many years now, really looking to see where do we have our strengths and what can be the strengths for the future. And from that, the creation of an innovative system, innovation system, has been developed in close cooperation with all the different public levels in Sweden. So, I would like to say that Sweden is an easy-going country for doing business. We have very early adopters within the population. Another ranking of how easy will the population take on new solutions to try the unknown. Sweden always also are on top. So we have a kind of open-minded society. We are willing to see different new ways. Pernilla pointed out some of them, like Spotify and so on, that came very early because it's a market within the population to really try to see if these kind of solutions are taken well by the customers. And if it goes well in Sweden, it goes well all over the world. So it's a good test bed actually for new products, and therefore also a good environment for doing business in Sweden. I don't want you to read the text, I will just highlight that I will now present some of the program from the government to enhance the innovation and the industrialization strategy in Sweden. Here are some examples, or prioritized examples actually. First of them, of course, is to make the next generation travel and transport. We have almost in Sweden a fossil-free energy system in total, but the transportation system, of course, is very much fossil-dependent. Heavy trucks, and so for us to be a really fossil-free nation, we need to get new solutions for transportation. Could be different kind of fuels, could be electrification, could be a mix of different solutions to make it possible. But all our electricity is produced non-fossil, so the big challenge is the transportation and the logistics. So there's one of the programs that we are really looking for good cooperation with others also to find out, and I think together with China, with your electrification goal, that would be a very good program, and as we already see, different companies are in close contacts with companies in China. The next one is smart, green and attractive cities. I mean, urbanization is global, also in Sweden. How can we plan, build and structure our cities to be as attractive as possible, and also to have as little footprint, carbon footprint as possible. So this will be the second main challenge where Sweden in the new strategy are making efforts. Life science, of course, another area where the Swedish companies has been very successful over the years. And also, like I said, mentioned the public procurement strategy to really give companies the task to find a solution, to create a better health system in Sweden, better for the patients, of course, less pain or less period for treatments, but also good from a perspective of innovation and export values. So new methods, new medication, and different kind of aid system has been under innovation in Sweden for many years. Bio-based economy, circular, of course that's also, as you can see all the way, sustainability, how can we make use of our resources in the best efficient way, and we believe that there are much more to do in this area, so that's why this is one other of the Swedish government strategies. And the last one here is connected industry and the new materials. Today we can realize, not least when it comes to cars, and also like auto products and so on, that clothing is just not clothing. It's also connected with different indicators to make it even better for the people that are wearing clothes. And we can build in systems that are connected to each other and talking to each other and give information that will enhance the life of not only individuals but also in materials. So this is a quite interesting area for the coming years. And all of these is, I would say, also possible with this long tradition of cooperation with China that I mentioned earlier. We have had it for many years and we are committed to keep it up for many years to come. And it's important for the Swedish government and also regional and local authorities and companies to develop good relationships with China and Chinese people. Leaving the industrial strategy, I will go to say some words about Jämtland. How could I not? I have this opportunity. So this red marked part, is the county of Jämtland. Doesn't say much about the distances, but you know that Stockholm is on the right hand on the little curve. And from Stockholm to Jämtland it's about 550 kilometers. So that's make a sense of the distance. Some facts about Jämtland. It's a quite huge area, larger actually than the whole of Denmark, with only 129,000 inhabitants living all over the area. That's a challenge, I can tell you. We have 47,000 reindeers. How come? Yes, because we have indigenous people, the Sami people, which is important also from tradition, but also from a reindeer farming point of view. We are producing 20% of all the hydropower that is produced in Sweden. So we are a good export maker of clean electricity. Forestry, tourism, and are perhaps the most important industries. We are very good at winter sports, which I will show you later on here. We have a very strong Mid-Sweden university, and we have a beautiful nature. This is a mountain area neighboring Norway, with clean air and fantastic nature in different ways. We have all the 5 big predators in Sweden: bear, wolves, wolverines, lynx, eagles. Hunting is of course important for living in the county. When I show this picture, some people say lovely nature. For me, it's innovation and sustainability, because we are working hard in the county in different ways to, in different programs to enhance the quality of the nature, because we are very much depending on it. We have started a climate council with public authorities, and I think it's now 40 companies and organizations that are working together, measuring the development of the climate and the effect of the climate in the nature, and also prioritizing together what actions we will take to reach our goal to be a fossil-free region the year 2030. Here are some of the reindeers. And the Sami people actually, when it comes to sustainability, are very, very good examples, because they are leaving almost no footprint at all. If you are going to the mountain area looking for some marks in the nature where some people has been living for the last 500, 600,000 years, you can't actually find anything, because they are living in a way that they are not leaving any footprints after them. And that kind of thinking of having the nature for long, it's something that we can learn a lot of. So that's why this is really interesting to deep more into. We have more than 16,000 lakes and 56,000 kilometers streaming waters in the county of Jämtland. And notably, actually, it's a very high quality. Almost most of the water is drinkable directly from the source. You can just take a cup with you and go anywhere and take a cup and drink it. So of course, clean water is very important. We need access to keep it clean also in the future, but it gives us good fishing and, as I mentioned, a good hydropower production. We are a winter sport area, the winter sports center of Sweden. I said that we have only 129,000 inhabitants, but we have about 10 million guest nights every year of tourists coming, skiing, fishing, hiking, just what we can see now, the new sports with biking in the mountain and adventures of different kinds. So that's really interesting. We are used to arrange big events. We are a World Championships region. We will have in the beginning of 2019, in just a couple of weeks, the World Championships in alpine skiing, as well as the World Championships in biathlon. And we have a long cooperation with China and the Chinese national team, at least when it comes to parasport. And they will be staying in Jämtland preparing for not only the Olympics and the Paralympics in 2018, but also in 2022, to learn more about how to create good environment for Paralympics in Beijing in 2022. We have a city life and the wilderness going hand in hand. People are choosing Östersund and Jämtland for living a good life. Easy going, it's very easy to go to the nature, or on the other hand to go for a city life with a great culture life and so on. For the Swedish guests here, I can't avoid the opportunity to also say that we are quite good even at football. And Östersund is now the only Swedish team playing this year in the Europa League for football. So it's hard to imagine that we are sitting there in the snow watching football. We have the last game home in Östersund in the end of November, so of course that will be something. How do we take this? Can you? Thank you. Sustainability all over. Not many know that more or less 20% of all the houses that are now being built in Stockholm is produced in Jämtland by different companies. wooden houses,